Hey guys, Wheatywaffle here today, and we are back in City Skylines 2 playing our city of Walden. And right now we're looking at our beautiful city of Toll. She is right across the river. We are having, wow, the sky's darker than I thought it was. We are having some issues with not enough customers, which is what we're going to address today. But in between parts, I spent a lot of time just sitting here detailing and working on Pollock Park. So if you look, we still have our cemetery right here, which is surrounded by some lush trees. There's tons of pathways that go in and out of this area, leading to these two piers. To the right, we've got a very manicured, detailed section here with some different ponds, as well as some manicured gardens around it. And then to the left, we've got a few different areas. We've got this little pond here. I downloaded this, or this little fountain here. I downloaded this statue off of Paradox Mods. We've got a little bike bridge here that leads into like a playground and a community area where they can gather and get some snacks, sit and just enjoy the park. And then over here where our museum is, we've got a pavilion in the back here. I imagine this is where you do like workshops and stuff. They set up chairs and you sit there and you learn about, I don't know, science. Over here we've got like a very detailed or very manicured, little garden space there. And then we just have a beach that goes along this edge here leading into our ferry. And then along this side we've got just kind of a rock break wall that just goes all the way along this edge here and just rounds this area out. In addition to that, I did add in a few other buildings here as well as a parking lot just to kind of fill in this little corner spot. We've got a lot of these low rent buildings, but they hold a ton of people. We've got 80, 70, 78, 77. Over here we got 137. Over here we got 330. So we've packed a lot of people right into this little area. And now the city of Toll is over 8,000 residents, which is great. I need to move these water pumps. Both Bada and Ken Barney noted that I have water pumps in the most polluted section of our city. And although technically the water is not polluted, it says it's zero. If you look at the ground pollution, all of this area here is heavily polluted compared to down here where there's nothing. We come into here and where these water pumps are, we're talking thousands and thousands of whatever unit we're measuring the water pollution. So I do think it probably makes sense for us to move those. And I think I might move them over here into Toll. Like right along here, we might build like a little area where you've got your water pumps. And I think we'll start with that. And then I want to spend some time today building out some suburbs. I want some windy roads. I want to start getting more people over into this area and just begin to build this out. I probably want to just like cut out a chunk and use that. Let's reduce the size of this brush. Let's go down to 40. Let's actually grab this little piece here. And we're just going to come straight along and in. And we're going to build a little section for our water pumps. Now, are these close to the city itself? Yeah, that's okay. We need to have a spot for them, and I don't need it to be far away from everything. That doesn't necessarily make sense to me. So having this kind of section, I think will work pretty well. Now, how do we make this look nicer? I liked the idea I had with that pathway. It's not ideal because we do have to do anarchy with it, but I think doing this right along here just looks so much nicer. If I was to come back here and flip this, so it's on this side, bring it down to here, connect it up and in, and flip it again, connect it up and in. Then we can just push this land back a little bit and get the perfect little water pumping station away from all the pollution. Do I just turn this all into a key area? I kind of think I do. And actually, before we do that, where am I? It's in here. Yes. I actually think turn anarchy off. If I was to come in here and try to upgrade this, it's going to say it's intersecting that, which technically, yes, it is. If I was to take a road off of here, I don't even need anarchy for that section, so that works out really well. And then if I was to upgrade this, could I make it work? I can make this one work. And I want it to have a key wall along this side. We're going to anarchy this piece in. We might have to just get used to doing a little bit of anarchy over here, but that's okay. Gives us some extra parking. I don't know what goes in here yet. We'll figure out something. But then what we can do is just kind of get rid of most of this Yeah, that works out pretty nicely. Now, over here, I kind of just think we smooth all this out and just make this kind of disappear into this section. We can keep this kind of like little cliffed area. The water will come up. It'll create a new little beach section. That's okay. That works nice. Then we can fill this with a surface and call it a day. Yeah, that works out fine. Now, do I have... Is this the road maintenance building? I do. Okay, so I already have like some other service type buildings. I don't really know what I would put over here to create a service building in this area, but I'm not going to stress about it just yet. I think what we do now is we spend some time figuring out how we make some suburbs kind of beginning to sprawl outwards from the city itself. Let's turn off the key wall. Let's turn back on all of our snapping, and let's switch over to, we'll start with the straight line tool. Give me my contour lines. Now we've got some hills here. It's nothing too extravagant, that's for sure. And I almost imagine that this area here that's still elevated could still be these kinds of grids. How big is this? This is, 44 units. So if I was to maybe turn this off, go up here to 44 units, send this straight along and down. Right? We just fill in this area. Let's actually just go another 44 units right to here. This way I can't mess myself up. And let's go to 44 once more. This will be as far as this kind of grid structure goes. Because then we start getting over here to this edge where things begin to turn. So here, throw this here. We'll throw this here. So that's going to be basically the extent of that grid, because now all of this starts to get a bit more fluid. There's a little bit more movement here. Let's do the continuous. And let's figure out how we're going to set this up. I think first and foremost, I'm going to try to wrap around kind of this section, which then sends me over into this area. And I will send one straight road right there. But then all of this here, we've got this hill. I'm already going to be turning this little section here, dry stone, into a park. So I don't really want to do the same thing. I would rather just fill this with some kind of development and make this into another neighborhood in the city. So let's do this. Let's turn on our constant slope. I'm going to send a road straight on out from here. And then maybe this road will come straight out this way. Give it a slight curve. Curve it over here. Send it up to here. I think we take this out and then we curve it here, and then we can use this area as well. Now we're going to need another connection here so that we're not just building a bunch of cul-de-sacs or a really large cul-de-sac. Put something here. We could put one here. Send it out straight. You know what? Send it out straight, curve it straight up and in. Send that out this direction. We're just going to kind of make a little neighborhood area. Cuts through this whole section and connects up and in. Ooh, I like that. I like that. It does give us a little bit of a strange area where like the land comes down. But if you imagine you don't zone on either side, we can get some nice trees there to disguise the buildings that are going to be up in here. We could do another little cul-de-sac here. Could do another one here. Maybe that curves in a bit. They're going to be pretty close together. That's okay. This then can curve here. Or does it come over and connect in? I think this one's going to curve over like this. And maybe follow where this land begins to change height. Send it out straight there. Send this in here. Okay. Now we've got a huge section here where there's not a lot of connections. That's okay. This here, we'll send a road straight on out here and maybe even give ourselves like a little T section there. Let's do a straight line right here that we know is a perfect 90. And then we connect off of here just like this. Almost like it's another development that came in. They were like, all right, we're going to put a house right here. Get ready. I want to snap to that piece there. Connect those two. Then how these two connect, I mean, I think, honestly, this is going to come out straight. This will come out straight as well. And for now, we'll leave that like that. All right, so that's a huge expansion there. We've got like a little tiny windy neighborhood up here in the top. I do think there's some other areas where we could probably squeeze in a bit more people. So what I think we do is we break up some of these grids just a bit. This one here, we're going to go ahead and curve it so that it connects kind of just like this. Although I kind of want this to come out a bit. And then from here to here, curve this. Then from here to here, give this little curve, maybe up this direction. Once we put these guys in, I think it's going to change everything. Let's make this area fancier. So we'll have a little tree inside each of these little roundabouts. We miss any? There we go. There's one there. We'll put a little tree here. So all those have little trees there. And then let's figure out how this zoning is going to work. So if all of this here is the city of Toll, I honestly think like all this gridded section has to be the city of Toll. It wouldn't make sense for it not to be. So if I was to go like this, give that section a curve, then all of this section here, we can just connect right up to where these roads begin to curve a bit. All of this becomes some other like local suburb of Toll. There we go. Maybe we'll just bring that guy over. All right. This is Hillside End. What if we just name this Overbrook? Because it's kind of looking over that part of the city. Now, in this area, we're going to need to have some nicer houses. But over here, we've been doing these southwest houses, and I honestly think we're just going to keep doing that all throughout here. And I might even get crazy. Now that we're moving away from everything over there, we're going to ignore this side. But right here, where these are perfect squares, I'm going to let the AI just do what it wants to do. Fill those in however you see fit. Fill all these in however you see fit. Let's be a little bit more mindful on this side. We'll send this straight on down. And for here, we're going to let that be, because I think I actually might put a pathway in here. Then we can turn off this zoning and keep everything stuck to this avenue. Great. So there's going to be like a little business strip. All of this is here. You apparently don't have car access, yet you built yourself there. So you're going to have to figure that out. We're going to get a ton of influx with low density residential, which we've not had in ages. Over here, we need Overbrook to be a little bit fancier. A little bit fancier. Let's get in here and let's look at some of these buildings. We're going to do low density for sure. I think I want to start by looking at the level 5s. It doesn't mean we have to place the level 5s, but I definitely want to see what the highest quality of these buildings is going to look like. So if we look here at the Chinese building, that's actually not bad. That's a level 5 Chinese building. We're going to place a few, and then we're probably going to delete a bunch of them. We have that one as well. That's also Chinese. Wait a minute. These are like actually super, super pretty. Oh, and there's the kind of building we're looking for. Look at that. Let's go back into our Find It menu, and I want to grab buildings that probably have a width of like, I want to say 3 or more. I feel like that's a decent size. Maybe 4 or more. Maybe we just start placing them, because Overbrook is all of this area, but this is going to be the fancier part of Overbrook. So you know what? Maybe these are actually going to have a width of 4 or more. It's got to be a big building for it to work in this section. I wouldn't want you to be along this main road, which is what I'm going to consider this street. And I'm going to try to be mindful of like really separating them out and placing them so that they're not one on top of the other. And are we going to just build all these with level 5? Yeah, why not? I had first thought about just doing them as level 1s and then letting them upgrade. But honestly, now that we're here and we're doing it, I think I just want to build them as level 5s right from the jump. There's got to be one that can fit in here. I just have to find it. Ooh, this one's nice. Now, I don't really want to build on this section of the road on either side, so we got to keep that in mind. This could easily go there, though, and maybe have a second one. Ooh. Can I do one right back here? Kind of connect up that way. And these guys get nice and large. I don't want anything that's too big. So now let's actually just go back to the beginning. Let's reduce the width here to 3. And let's actually make it so that it is smaller than 4. This is a 3x4. 3x5. These are a bit more modern. Get a 3x6. And then maybe we just do the opposite over here. We do a 3x6. We do the 3x5 on this side. Can we sneak the 3x4 right into here? We can. Now, what this needs to make this actually work is going to be a ton of trees. We're going to lock our trees. We're going to do all 3 different heights except for the smallest. I'm going to reduce the brush size to 60 and reduce the strength down to 20. Maybe to 15 even. Maybe we'll bring the brush a little bit taller. Yeah, there we go. All right, we're going to go around here, go around the edge of this neighborhood, just like so. Then we're going to go through the middle, and we'll give the outer edge one more pass, okay? Now let's do our alders. We're going to do the same thing here. Then when we go to our chestnuts, we're going to increase the size of this brush, and we're just going to hold it and move a little bit slower, but this is going to help fill in all the spots in between the houses. There we go. Got a nice leafy green area here. They're up on a hill a little bit, tucked away. It's perfectly quiet over here. There's no noise whatsoever, but you're close to the downtown. Now, the town of Overbrook, I don't think has any services. So that's a problem. First things first, this hospital can definitely operate here. No reason it can't. And while we're waiting for it to fill in, or while we're waiting to do the rest of this, I'm going to just zone in all of this with some low-density housing. I'm thinking we might actually get crazy and we do the UK low-density semi-detached housing. These are perfect squares. So I might just fill those up just like that and let them all zone in. I don't want to go all the way back to where that neighborhood is, but we could go that far back. Here we do the same thing. We'll just kind of control where the zoning sits. We can do some controlled zoning here. I might even go ahead and just connect these 2 roads together. Right there at the 90. And this starts to get a little bit hilly, so we might want to change how that all looks out there. All right, is this area all a part of this district? It's not. So let's change that and just turn all of this into Overbrook, and there'll be some other neighborhood going down this way. Yeah, I like that. I like that. It feeds in real nice. Now, I am having an issue. Let's see if this is still true. Waiting for an ambulance. If we look, there's no ambulance coming to this house. Same thing is true here. This building here, waiting for an ambulance. No ambulance is coming to this house. None whatsoever. Even though they live inside of City of Toll. The City of Toll has both a general hospital right here, and it has a clinic right here. But they're not serving these houses. I had the same issue with this cemetery. The cemetery isn't actually going to pick anybody up. So I had to sneak in a little French crematorium, and this does seem to be picking people up. But if anyone knows what's going on there and why, like, the only real solution is for me just to delete these alerts, I'd love to know, because nobody will pick them up. Similar thing with, actually, this fixed itself in between parts. There was a symbol right here of an ambulance, but when you clicked on it, there's no building here, and there was no people. You couldn't delete it. I don't know. Couldn't tell you. Tons of, major accident. Good luck, guys. We're not working over there today. All right. This looks great. Getting a ton of development here. I am trying to figure out now, where do we begin to change some of the roads? I think this road here could benefit from being a 4-lane. If this whole section, maybe we even go inwards a little bit, but I think up to here could be 4 lanes. Just like that. And then right here, we turn this into maybe like a larger roundabout in this section with something just ornate and interesting. That's way too large. That's a very large. We don't need a very large. Large could work. I wonder if large is too big. Maybe it needs to be medium. I think medium is probably more the right size. Right up here along the edge. Okay. Because then this can easily become another road that gets a highway connection here. And then this avenue here can also come over this way and somehow get a highway connection. We'll have 2 highways connecting into this area. Now, let's just go ahead, because we've got the money, we've got the ability to do so. Let's grab at least, you know what? I'm going to grab all of these. These are somewhat worthless. You know what? Grab all of these that have the highway. We already have the money we need. We can own all of the land that the train is going through. Let's just do it. We're still making buku bucks. 3 mil. We'll take it. And now all this is just, we own all this. And it's just going to be much easier to make this all operate the way we want. All right. With this in place, we've upgraded this. I do think a lot of these roads here need to get a chestnut on them. Let's go here. Let's switch over to snap to road. In this area, everywhere that has a bike lane, I did not put trees. That way I could easily see where the bike lanes were, but everywhere else did get trees, which would mean that like all of this area here gets trees. You know, maybe the better thing to do is to start with the bike lanes, and then we'll know where not to go. This bike lane here I think is going to continue out. We also have this main road, which do I put a bike lane on here and eat into some of that parking? I think I do. We have to anarchy these two, but then after that, we can place it on our own. So this main road has bike lanes. A few blocks in, there's also a major bike lane road. You have this bike lane wrapping around this way, which also comes over here and interconnects with the park. I almost wonder if this road actually does get bikes. Where's our other straight up and down road? There's actually not another area that does that. We've got a little bit of bike infrastructure here, but then it really relies on the park. And this could come up and connect, but then it has to curve and come down. You know what? That's not the worst thing. Connect this, so all this is connected. This will come down, and then this main road will also get bikes. Maybe along here, this can have bikes, and this road... Do we make this road have bikes? That's more of the private road. I think if anything, this road here, where we purposely didn't put a ton of zoning, that could get the bikes come straight on through. And we have the bikes go like that. So there are some serious bike arterials through here. I do also think we should probably think about putting some kind of bike path in here. If I close this out, where could we fit it? Now, do the people who live here want this bike path? Probably not, but the city wants it. And so that's why you're getting it. You don't need to create that weird shape. Why are we getting wacky with it? Flat. Keep it flat. On the ground. There we go. We got a bike lane there. Then this bike path could honestly just kind of move its way through here. If we just do a complex curve, no, continuous curve. This section here we send straight. They've got a fence. They're not even going to be bothered by it. This could come down and connect right up into here. So now our bikes have another connection point there. This is a little loop. This here is a loop. This here is a loop. This here is a loop. This here's a loop. Okay, yeah, that's much better. We do have a house that is seemingly unable to connect to the road. If that's true, we're just going to delete it. I don't actually have any bike stands or anything through here yet. We've got to get that sorted as well. I don't want any pathways through here. I don't think that's necessary. You guys already have dead people, which is kind of crazy because I just built this area. I don't know if I like this. I don't know if I like how they chose to build. Sorry, guys. Sorry. You gotta go. It's not it. It's not what I envisioned when I gave you the permits. So we're gonna clear that out, let that empty out. We'll redo that. This all needs services. So you've got the hospital assigned. I don't think I'm gonna assign this clinic to this area. That just feels like a lot. I feel like they need their own medical clinic in this spot. Let's get something kind of small. Japanese medical clinic. We also have the modern medical clinic, which that actually would make a whole lot of sense in this area. If I also look at the ground here, it's basically completely flat. We could send a road straight on out here. Maybe we do the same 144, which was the size of our other blocks. Right? We have this little section here. The bike path may continue. I don't actually know. But we could put our medical clinic kind of off the main road, but just next to it. I think I like it on this side more. And yeah, we'll let it have that little space. It connects up. But that way the trucks can pull out of here. It has some parking, I thought. But I do think I would want to give it its own parking. This here is an additional clinic. Just connects somewhere around. And then this guy is the specialized treatment wing. What does that give us? More patient capacity. You're right next to a hospital. We probably don't need that. Let's go ahead and set the operating district for this to this district. And I guess this also is going to kind of tell me that this district is going to go a little bit further back than that. It's going to go right to there. And that's the dividing line for this district. That'll work just fine. Okay. You know what? While we're here, send this straight on out at the 90. Send it straight on over. Send this down. Give me a little bit of a curve. Do something like that. And instead, we just turn off all these intersections. Right? Make it look, I don't know, a little different. I do think you are also going to operate here. This is like a huge cemetery, and there's no bodies that have been buried here, even though we've had dead people. So I don't understand what's happening. Whereas this guy, I think, is working. Is someone coming to you? Waiting for a hearse? No, because this is not zoned to operate in this area. This, however, is zoned to operate in this area, and not a single one of our vehicles are in use. So I think it's broken. If I set this to operate in Overbrook as well, do you have a hearse on the way? Yep, there's a hearse on the way. Where's this hearse coming from? Right here. Where is this hearse going to go back to? Owner, NL Crematorium. That is the problem, that this is just operating everywhere. And because of that, this is taking priority. What if that just covers that area? Do you guys have a crematorium? No, you have a post office. This could honestly operate like on this whole side. Maybe that's the issue. Hold on. Grab this. You operate all through here, as well as over here for now. It's just a lot, I know, for you to do, but that might fix my problem. Any vehicles in use? None. We'll come back to that. All right. We've got death. We've got health. We don't really need garbage right now. They're going to be just fine. We've got our recycling center right up the street. In terms of schools, I think this neighborhood would absolutely have its own fancy schools. I think we could do, honestly, one of these elementary schools that's got like a ton of space behind it. That could be kind of dope in here. Could it fit over here? It could. It could fit right over here. We do it along this route. We set this to only operate here in Overbrook, and we give it both upgrades. This is the elementary gym, and this is the extension wing, which allows us to have more students. This can hold 1,500 students. They've got their own little elementary school over here. Can we consider... Does that... I'd lose that house. It's a lot of parking, though. I almost think we do this, and we do one more right next to it. And like that's just the parking for the back of this school. This is kind of the whole parking lot area. Now, you know, I like to put periods for these because I don't want to see the names. I tried the trick where you put like the different symbols that make up a space. I don't like the code. I don't know what it's called. That didn't seem to work for me. Turn off these crosswalks here, here, and here. There we go. You can cross down there. You can cross up there. That's fine. Turn off those two. Cross there. That's all fine. In the middle of this, we're going to slap down some trees. Maybe I'll even do... Where's the birches? Let's do the birches. Let's do them in a line. We're going to do them right like this. Turn on fence mode. Reduce this down to 10. And just have a collection of birch trees right there. Could I maybe sneak birch trees back here? I can. which means we're also going to sneak birch trees right here. That's the parking lot for the school. Done. Done. And that also means we should probably think about putting in a path right here. Turn all this off. We're just going to follow that line there. There we go. Japanese school. 14 kids are there. Look at that. Now, I wasn't going to get too into the detailing. Is that just grass? Yeah, it's just regular grass. That's fine. I will fill in a few spots. Like this right here absolutely needs a little grass. Those can stay. This is the base game grass. We definitely need like a tree or two over here. Oh, and I did download all of these like colorful plants. I'm a huge fan. They're not colorful when you're in a season other than like summer, winter, and fall, or summer, fall, and spring. If you're in winter, they don't have any color. I don't know if they have color in fall either. When the trees start to change, they kind of lose their color, but that looks amazing. We also need a high school in this area. We got a ton of options. This high school is way too big. I don't like that it has the same kind of fencing. We could do something like this because it's got like the gardens behind it. Oh my gosh, and it would fit right here. Done. That's going right there. Do we want to add these two? What is this? Extension wing? Gym extension. Yeah, I think we do actually. And you're going to only operate here as well. Do we figure out how to add more parking or instead, do we just expand this grass surface all through the back and do what we did over there where we put down a tree or two, kept it quite simple, and then gave it some flowers. Very different style buildings. We can imagine this is like a newer school. All right. That's great. We've got education. Now we need to think about fire. This is zoned for this is the large one. Yeah. This is the headquarters. That can absolutely cover this area. Not a problem. It is right down the road. And I guess the same could be true with police. This is a headquarters. You're not actually operating in any districts, so I'm just going to go ahead and set you to operate in these four. You're going to focus on this area. I do also think this area would maybe have their own little tiny police station. I really like the way this one looks. It's a little bit larger, though, than I remember, but I would want it to be along the main road. So maybe this does go right here. It operates in this district. We could give it a cell extension or garage extension. I don't think we need either of those. I think that's pretty just like that. We are also going to need some businesses in here. And what if we were to do, I kind of just want to do the base game businesses. Right? Maybe we do this. Maybe we fill this all in with business, let a few things zone in. Well, it was a little bit more than a few. And we'll also put in some of the any type businesses as well, just to get a little bit of a variety. We probably also want offices over here if we're not mistaken. So like what if the zoning here is not working great? If I turn this off, we can get that edge. That way we're getting zoning kind of all along this road here, which is honestly where we want it. All this can get office. All this can get office. All this can get office. Turn off the zoning here. We've got that strip. We can do a little bit more business, and we can maybe put a little office in the middle. Bam. We'll see what we get there, but that could work out pretty nicely. We're probably going to need parking lots and things over here, but that's kind of like the main street for this area. This still needs to be zoned out. I just didn't like the way these buildings came in. It's not that I didn't like these buildings themselves, but I'm concerned they maybe are going to look too different from everything else. UK, low density, terraced housing. That's what we're doing. And I'm going to set this up a little bit differently. If I look at Platter, I can see kind of all the sizes we've got. We've got a lot of 3 backs and 2 backs, but all by 2 deep. With that in mind, let's put a 2x2 on the corner. Here's how we're going to start this so that we guarantee we get what we want. We're going to start these corners off just like this. So then we can send this all 3 back, Send all of this 3 back. We'll make all this have 3 backs. There we go. Here on these corners again, do the 2x2s. Here we go 3 back for all of this. This can go 2. We go 3 back for all of this. This can go 2. I think all that's zoned. Okay, so now all this is zoning in. I think that's going to look probably much nicer. As it zones in, I might as well just go ahead and give it a smattering of trees. Okay, so now we've got some more buildings right in there. That's great. We also have like no demand for low density, which never happens. We could consider like getting a little bit of height over here. Get some like low density or low rent buildings, etc. But we'll come back to that. Next, we're going to address transportation. But first, I think we need parks. I don't think we have any parks over here. And I would rather build that first before we go any further. A large city park could look nice in this area. I do think... Oh, see, something like that on the corner would have worked out really well. I do think we could maybe sneak it in like a block like this. I know this is technically there's a house there, but if we turn the whole block into a park and we just expand this surface, we can come back later and do some work with the pathways, make it feel like the whole block is really a park. It's the kind of neighborhood that would have just a huge park somewhere, right? That makes sense to me. There we go. So now we've got a park. That covers everything this area needs for the most part. This area is definitely lacking in the parks department. There's nothing on this corner, though. I wonder if we do maybe like, can we get a field in here? Or are these going to be way too large? That one's too large. Oh, this one does actually fit. I think that's going to go there. It's close to the school. You know what? I say that. And I almost just think it goes right here. Along this road. So it is literally right next to the school. This could then become an alleyway along this side. Coming out the 90. This could come straight out like this. And then we actually upgrade this into a road with parking. Leaning toward the sports complex. There we go. A little bit of surface work. Integrated that in there well. I did accidentally place it here and then I deleted all the buildings that were here. We might just leave that open for now. Something could go there in the future. I don't know what, but something could go there. This is already looking so much better. It's technically low density, but it's giving us much higher density, or at least the feeling of a higher density than what we already had here. Now we got to do public transit. So we've got our bus line. No, not a bus line. We've got our train line coming through. We have no buses over here, though, and I think that definitely should change. First things first, we need a bus depot. And honestly, right over here by the hospital, not a bad spot for it. Or it could go in here, because this has already got like a transportation, kind of orientation to it. Could even go right there, although it is going to have some noise pollution now. Low air pollution, low noise pollution. I think it's going to go right here. This is not really a like touristy section. You come off here, the tourist area is this way. This over here is city services. Can this get its own? No, it cannot. We can't set this to only work in this area, but we are going to make this an electric bus line station. Then we got to figure out what the bus lines actually look like. I do think we're going to use the NA bus stop shelter with bicycle stands. I'm a fan of those. Now, we've got a train that comes in. I would imagine you would grab a bus from the train. I know we have the upgrade that removes this parking lot. I don't want to use that. But if I was to grab this bus, I could then take this bus and come down this direction. Maybe stop down here before getting into this corner. Maybe we then curve and we come down this main avenue. I wouldn't want to mess up any of this parking. Come down that main avenue. You curve it around, you go over to here. And now you're near the ferry. Then you come back up and over. The stop could be along this side. It would curve here. But instead of going up this area, you would go up here. Or do you want to just have it like on this side? It's only a block away from the other stop. But I feel like this right here is just trees. So having it here might be a better idea. All right. We're going to set this to, let's make this white. We'll go from here to here. I guess it's really a gray. We'll head into the city so we can stop there. And then we're going to loop back around. That's connecting our two main external public transit networks with this guy. Now, I want to actually set this to be electric buses. And I've been setting all the prices for everything to 0. With that being said, I don't think the ferry idea is working. So I'm thinking I might just get rid of the ferries. But we'll come back to that. I'm not going to do that today. I got to put more thought into it. Oh, look at this building. Wow, that's crazy. We don't need all that, though. We need a bus line that I honestly think is going to share these two stops, and it's going to head out this direction. So we would then go from here, maybe put one right here, maybe put one a little bit further in. That's 1, 2, it's kind of 3 blocks in. And then 1, 2, the third block will be over here. So eventually we'll set that up. You would then come back. Do we use the same road? Is this my bike lane road? Ah, of course. Of all the roads I chose to use, I used the road with the bikes, and I don't want to do that. I want to keep the bike lane road clear. Then again, it's connecting into here. It's like a prominent road. Ah, man. I didn't think about that when I did that. That's okay, though. Do we send it down and over? Because then that just curves. So that's obviously not the ideal spot. But then this is in the center of a block. So that's also not the ideal spot. This could be the better play here. And it would be off the main road. Or do we just have it stay on the main road? And we have a bus network that comes straight down here. There'll be a bunch of businesses. Maybe it comes down here and it heads... I feel like I would want one that maybe comes down and over. And it brings all the residents here to the businesses that are up here and gets them to the train. If you're in this area, you can just walk to this bus stop and get to the train. So I imagine like these blocks here are kind of serviced by these bus stops. But if you're over here, you don't really have any connection. So it could come down and through. You wouldn't be able to drive through this neighborhood. I wouldn't want you to do that. So instead, you would take this bus, you'd loop around. This bus would stop maybe right here. We'd go 1, 2, 3, and we'd stop right here. Then we go 1, 2, kind of 3. We'd stop right here. 1, 2, 3. We could stop right here. 1, 2, 3 by the high school. That's perfect. 1, 2, 3. And we stop right here along the main street. Then this is going to end up turning around. It's going to come back this direction. We'll again stop in front of the high school. We'll stop along this block. We'll stop along this block. Stop along this block. This one here, we're going to have to anarchy in. That's okay. But then we've got this other line. Maybe this. It's like a soft pink line. It'll start here. It'll come over this way, loop around here, head on into Overbrook, stop in front of the high school, stop by the main business corridor. I am going to have it loop around here so it's looping around the commercial area versus the residential. And then it's just going to use this main road back on through. Which this also makes me think, first of all, grab this, grab bus line 11, turn it into electric buses, set it to free. I'm going to rename them in between parts. We'll take care of that later. It makes me think I definitely need more businesses. That's a must. Since this is along a train line, though, I kind of want to also do mixed use. If I turn off the zoning on both of these roads, I can make sure we've got decent zonable land right here. Let's do the southwest mixed use all along here, but then we're going to take some sections and turn them into the northeast mixed use and just see what we get. And then I might even come in here with a few businesses And we just do a smattering of some businesses through here as well. It's going to give us some more height along this road, but that would make sense. We've got the train right there. Like, you would obviously want to have some more height there. Which direction is our wind blowing? Is our wind blowing that way? It is. Although that's mixed use. I kind of wanted to put some industrial right here. But mixed use means people are living there. They're always going to be sick. That was probably a dumb idea. But we could definitely put industrial on this side of this road. So maybe back here is actually just going to be offices. We don't need them right now. But all of this here could just become offices at some point. I don't know if they're really going to zone in and be able to fill their demands, but we'll see what happens. Now, we've got a bus lane that comes down this direction. We have a bus lane that comes down this direction. Do I need one here? I think I do, and I think it would connect. Oh, you know what? Hold on. Hold on. You don't even need that stop. This can go right here. Get rid of that. That's going to stop right there instead and take you up. And then there will be another bus line that connects from here. It heads over here. It's not going to stop anywhere there. It will stop right here. We'll go 1, 2, 3. We'll stop right here. We're across the street from this one. And then for now, it's just going to come back here. It's really small at the moment. But eventually, this is going to be a much larger connection as we keep growing outwards. How is that going to turn around? You want to turn around like that? This is all business. So I guess I don't really care. And maybe that's a little bit close to the intersection. But you know what? It's how I build them. It's just habit at this point. This will come around here. This will connect into here. There we go. Although I hate it. I really do hate it. I think it needs to loop around there. Or maybe it can loop around this block. I just think like looping around like that just doesn't make any sense. If it loops around here, that's a little bit tighter. That works out a bit better. Okay, so this has 3 bus networks now. They go, I would say, kind of on the outskirts, but as we keep adding, if you live in this center area, you only have to walk, what, 1, 2, 3 blocks to this stop, or you walk 1, 2 blocks to this stop, or you can walk 1, 2, 3 blocks-ish to this stop. So, like, even in here, you still have got good connection. We also need a taxi depot over here. And I think I honestly might try to place that down here as well. And have this with this other building. Like, this area is not going to have much else going for it. We could place in a few trees along the edge here. Give me some alders. And then just give me some chestnuts. Let's not do any... We're not going to do any of the oaks right over here. I can't fit any there. That's okay. But that kind of blocks all that. You've got your taxis. We'll give it the on-call thing. We'll give it the electric. Garage extension, not as thrilled about that. And then what we can do is we can place the taxi shelters kind of all around here. So we've got this area. Let's think about this. I would love to have a taxi stand maybe right over here by our museum. I wouldn't want to get rid of the trees, though, on either of these sections of road. So I think we're going to have a taxi stand maybe right over here. This is the high school. That kind of makes some sense to me. We could also have a taxi stand over here near our what is this building? Crematorium? Nope. Cemetery? There we go. Near the cemetery. Also a bunch of high density houses right there. We could even sneak one in over here and have one in front of the train station. Over this way, we've got a number of businesses in here, but we've got some good connections with our buses. But what if there was one across the street from the park or next to the park even? We will have one over in this area. We will also have one, I think, over here by our field. That could be valuable. And we can have one tucked away in here by these industrial buildings. Over this way, we'll put one in front of the elementary school, also by the field. That's useful. And then maybe we'll have one over here by this park. Kind of right along the back side of the park. feels pretty good. I don't really have a reason for one in this very residential area, so I think we're going to ignore doing that. I just don't think you need it. Now, are there any unique buildings we'd want to build over here? We could get into building like the Cedar Residence. What is this? This was a mod I downloaded. Calm, elegant residential complex set in a green environment designed to blend naturally into suburban or semi-urban neighborhoods. Literally the neighborhood we're working in. I think that could be perfect right here. Right along this side here. Because then if we re-add the trees we got rid of, that's going to fit so nicely. Hold on. That makes total sense. Kind of tucked into here. And again, just gives us more green space, opens things up. How many people live in Overbrook? 1,500. How many people live in Toll? 9,000. And Pollock has got a bunch of services. Nobody lives here, though, although there is 60 employees because of the services in here. I guess it's some are from here, some are probably from here, 36, and then that doesn't have any employees. Okay, great. All right, before we wrap up, what I think I want to do is I want to add 2 highway connections, because right now you have to either come in by train, which gets you right to here, or you have to take the highway all the way up to this little interchange, bring it all the way over to here, and then come all the way into here to get to any of this. So I think if we added in 2 additional highway connections, that would set us up so that in the next part we can continue to expand out these suburbs. Now, what's the land look like over here? Pretty flat, but we've got a nice little hill right here, and I think that's where we want to work towards. We're going to connect that in. We don't actually have one here in the middle. It almost maybe would make sense to have one in the middle. This guy has been divided this whole time. I think at this point we're going to get rid of that divide, and we're just going to zone right off of here. Boom. There's a whole nother suburb there, whole nother suburb here, whole nother suburb here. Industrial probably along this flatter area along the back, or maybe in this area. And we've really gotten a whole new neighborhood going on. We need to get highway connections in here. I could just go with one of these guys. This trumpet is a medium capacity. The problem is, I don't know if it's actually going to fit with how close we are to the train. Actually, this could fit right here. It's a pretty flat area too. It does kind of cut me off from a connection over there, but that gives us something to improve in the future. Because I could also see this area here being another industrial kind of port area. Because the water comes right in. Have another port there. A port, an old port here. Yeah, that could look really cool. Let's connect this one up. This one we know what we're doing. Let's go in here. We're going to grab our 2-lane road. I'm going to turn on parallel mode. Come right off of here. We're going to do continuous curve. Although I probably don't even need it, because I'm just going to bring this all the way down to here. Bam, that's connected up. Right here, I kind of want to build these individually. Like if I was to take this, bring it down and in, and then we take this and we bring this over and up. That works out pretty well. And I kind of think we could upgrade this to a 4-lane asymmetrical highway. 4-lane, here we go. Upgrade this road for now into a highway. And then right here, there will be a intersection that will cause it to be a 4-way stop. But by doing that, it actually just makes me think like we could just make that look prettier. If we are going to do a 4-lane highway here, why not like do it the right way? If I was to take this out, do a complex curve even. Connect that at the 180. Connect it over and connect it in just like this. There we go. A little bit of a curve. Boom, you stop here and now you're into the city area. Okay, great. That's then going to come up this way. Let's just get rid of these little connections here. We don't need those. And what I think I want to do is I actually think I want to prioritize the avenue. The avenue crossed over. The train would obviously stay flat. Let's do constant slope. Bring that to the ground. It's 8. For now, honestly, we're just going to leave that there. That can come on down just like that. Let's actually snake this highway. I don't really have a plan right now. We're just going to try to see what comes out of this. If I turn on our contour lines, it's totally flat over here. We're going to try to snake this up and over. Can I snake it up in such a way that the over goes through just like that? Yes. Send this out this direction. Send it over to here. Connect it up and in. So now that's reconnected. We've got a serious bend here though, which I actually think I want to slightly rework this. That's a little bit of a nicer curve there. Brings that back together. I can get into that. Now, getting this to connect up and in, that's the harder part. I mean, honestly, I've set this up so it can just kind of become a diamond interchange, haven't I not? If I was to take a 2-lane road from here, turn off parallel, we come right off of here. We could actually downgrade this into a 1-lane and then briefly upgrade this into a 3-lane. We already have to come in and get rid of or rebuild the power lines as it is. So having to get rid of a few of them, not a big deal. So here's your exit. You got 2 merge lanes here. We are going to set this up so that we can, first of all, remove the unsafe. And then we can say this lane does not go straight and this lane does not go straight. They have to turn their respective ways. There we go. Upgrade this into a 3-lane. Snap 2. Just like so. At this point, this could also be brought back down into a 1-lane. So you can get off here. You know what? This whole thing can just be a 1-lane. It doesn't need to be 2. It's an exit. This one is an entrance. I wouldn't mind doing what we've already been doing though. Like this seems to be working for me, so I'm going to keep doing it. We're going to connect that in like so. Then we're going to upgrade this. You know what? Hold on. This is going to over-engineer this a lot. But I almost want to take this road underneath here and loop it and connect it into this road so that you can take this to go this direction. But then you'd have to transfer over versus just making a turn here. Because if you come off this road now, this is a really sharp turn to go to the left. But if you were to come up and underneath, you could connect onto this exit, but then you'd have to connect on this exit and transfer over to go to the left. Which I don't know if I think is better or not. Should this just have another lane that connects into here, but then that's just going to create another intersection we don't want. You could also come off of here and loop over and connect in and then go straight, which that could look kind of cool. Hold on. If I was to take... We have our curve on. Let's go to the 180. 180-ish. Let's do complex curve. We're going to go like this. Right? Then turn off these crosswalks and turn off this light. You don't need that light. Because if I go into my lane markings tool, remove unsafe, this cannot go this way. It can only go that way. Yeah. We're doing that. And I honestly think this whole thing just needs to be key walled all the way through. You're so close to this other highway. 4-lane road. We'll take our 2-lane road. We'll go from here up to there. That is not super pretty, that connection. That's better. And then we need to make this into a 3-lane, so we've got another slip lane there. And now you can go here, or you can go here. I guess technically with this one, you just turn left or right, but I think that's okay. It's a bit better of a connection. And that's kind of fun because now we've got a circle there and we have a circle here, so they're kind of matching. Ooh, I disconnected power. That's not good. Let's get that reconnected. Now we're reconnected up and in. Beautiful. Now let's see. Are people immediately taking this road? Immediately taking this road. We already had that connection there. And this road here, immediately taking this road. So now we've got much better connections for this area. And that's going to alleviate all the traffic we were seeing over in this section. That's perfect. All right, guys, I think that's where we're going to end this part here. A quick shout out to my channel members. Thanks so much for your support. I really appreciate it. If you're interested in becoming a channel member, click the link in the description below to unlock custom emojis, loyalty badges, early access to videos, save game files, members only content, merchandise discounts, and more. And until next time, leave your questions, comments, and feedback down below, and I will see you guys in the next one. Lorelai, follow your dad out. I can't have your tippy taps. I can't edit them out.